This is what happens when you try to spot weld an 18650 battery without proper timing control. The battery is completely destroyed, and to understand why this happens and how to fix it, you need hundreds of amps of current. And you know what can deliver that amount of energy? You guessed it, it's a car battery. So today we're going to harness that power to spot weld 18650 batteries, as well as showing the best practices and settings I have found, along with testing the limits of the spot welder and also trying to weld nickel-plated copper strips, which are very hard to weld. We'll start with a simple setup just to see if this is even possible. The battery that I'm using is an old car battery that I've previously removed from my vehicle because it had trouble starting the engine. But even though it failed in the car, it should still have plenty of power potential for spot welding, since the battery came from an Infiniti QX56, which has a very large battery for its heavy V8 engine, so current delivery shouldn't be a problem. To handle all that current, I bought a red and black 4-gauge copper cable, which is thick enough to deliver a weld, according to the previous spot welder I've built, out of a microwave, which also used 4-gauge as well. To connect the wires to the battery, we are going to use this universal terminal set, which will clamp itself onto the battery posts. But before installing those, I cleaned up both the battery posts and terminals to get the lowest possible resistance. The terminal kit also came with felt rings that go around the posts to help reduce corrosion. And we now have a solid connection. For stripping the thick cables, I didn't have a proper wire stripper, so I used a razor blade. It was a little sketchy, but it worked nevertheless. For the welding prongs, there are a lot of options online, but the best one I've stuck with for all my spot welder builds was this spot welding pen for under $20. It comes with replaceable copper tips and a built-in pressure switch that only triggers a weld when enough force is applied. It also includes spare springs and switches in case anything wears out over time. To switch the high current, I'm gonna use an automated 500 amp relay, which I've also used in my previous projects and has proven itself to be a pretty reliable high current switch. If I power the relay with 12 volts, you can hear it click on, and when power is removed, it disconnects its contacts. I cut the positive cable so it can be routed through the relay. We're going to crimp copper lugs onto the ends, add some heat shrink, and make up all the high current cables the same way. The spot welding pen uses thick copper bars with threaded bolts, which makes it easier for attaching the cables. Once both the positive and negative cables are connected, we can wire up the control side. We can start with cutting off the DC connector from the pen, connect one wire to the positive terminal of the battery, and the other to the relay coil. For the small control wires, crimping with pliers is more than enough. To install the wires to the battery, I'll simply unscrew one of the bolts from the terminals and then reinstall it with the wire in place. I fabricated another wire with lugs in order to pull the negative side of the battery to the relay. And after bolting down the wires to the relay, we now have the spot welder connected in series with a car battery, which means when I press down on the spot welding pen, we can hear the relay click. Perfect! For our first test, we'll use a standard nickel strip and try to weld it onto an 8650 battery. If you're enjoying the video so far, hit that subscribe button because I'm really close to hitting 10,000 subscribers and it helps more than you think. As you can see, unfortunately, it burns straight through the battery. This battery is a bad one that I bought online, which is why I wasn't worried about destroying it. When we put it on a scale, it weighs about 29 grams, while a good 8650 battery weighs more than 40 grams. The real issue isn't about too much current. It's about how long that current is applied. It's almost impossible to manually press a welding pen for 100 milliseconds or less, which is what you need to avoid welding into the battery. And that's where a control board becomes necessary, which is where our sponsor comes in, NextPCB. Have you ever wanted professional looking PCBs? NextPCB is one of the most trusted PCB manufacturers in the world, offering high quality PCB fabrication, assembly, and testing at lightning-fast speeds. Whether you're building something simple or moving into full-scale manufacturing, NextPCB delivers high precision, durability, and affordable pricing. They offer same-day manufacturing, free design file reviews, and even a free DFM software to catch mistakes before production. The first thing I noticed when I opened the package was how well everything was protected, which already says a lot about the quality control. Taking a closer look at the boards, the components are cleanly soldered, perfectly aligned, and the PCBs overall look very professional. I ordered 5 boards and it came out to only about $20 per board. All you need to do is upload your Gerber files, select your preferences, and in just a few days, your PCB is ready. So if you're planning to build your electronic projects, this makes the whole process a lot easier. The link is in the description. Before wiring the PCB to the car battery, I wanted to test it using my bench power supply, since if we were to hook it up to the car battery and it would fail, there would be way more damage to not only the PCB, but also the wires, compared to the power supply, which is limited to 10 amps. When designing the board, I added screw terminals to make wiring simple. I set the power supply to 12 volts, connected to the PCB, and immediately something went wrong. As you can see, the magic smoke has been released. Taking a closer look at the power supply shows that it was pulling about 10 amps as soon as I pressed the trigger. After inspecting the board, I realized that the flyback diode was installed backwards. A flyback diode is used to clamp the voltage spikes from the relay to prevent damage to the electrical components. But if it's installed in the wrong direction, it creates a direct short. Just to be clear, this was my mistake. When looking at the design files, it confirms it, and the diode orientation is incorrect. If I weren't lazy and I were to use the free DFM software that NextPCB provides, this wouldn't have happened in the first place. I flipped the diode in the design for future orders, and then manually corrected it on a fresh PCB. Working with small components isn't easy, but after fixing the diode and reconnecting everything, the board behaves as expected. And now when I press the trigger, the current stays stable. To keep everything organized, I'll cut a piece of 2x4. A little sanding doesn't hurt to remove the sharp edges. I installed the relay using star screws, which don't slip like the standard Phillips screws. For the PCB, I use self-tapping screws to enlarge the holes since I've designed it a little bit too small. After removing the temporary test wires, I connected the welding pen trigger to the PCB input and then routed the relay wires into the output section of the board. I had to extend a few wires so they could reach the PCB. To keep things neat, I zip tied the two welding cables together with a trigger wire. Now that the wiring is finished, I sharpen the copper welding tips to get cleaner and more consistent welds. We are also going to experiment with tungsten tips, which are normally used for TIG welding since tungsten can handle higher temperatures compared to copper. Here are the 18650 batteries we'll be welding. I built a small Lego style platform with these modular battery spacers to hold the cells in place during welding. After a bit of polishing, everything is ready. But I did end up damaging a bit of insulation in the process on some of them, so we're going to put on these insulating rings, which will prevent us from shorting the negative to the positive. When I press the manual trigger button on the PCB, you can hear the relay click briefly. Turning the potentiometer shortens the pulse even more. If you enjoy my videos, consider supporting me through Patreon so I can keep creating more. For the first weld, I forgot to lower the pulse time and the tips burned straight into the battery. Luckily, nothing catastrophic happened. Lowering the pulse time gives much better results. When I pull off the nickel strip with pliers, you can see some nickel remaining on the battery, which means it's a good weld. Let's do another one to check the consistency. That looks good to me. Increasing the pulse time slightly leaves even more nickel strip behind, which tells us that the weld is stronger. For most cases this is not necessary, but if you are building an e-bike battery, you need that strong connection to get more power out of the cells without overheating them. Now let's try a nickel strip with copper sandwiched inside to give it higher current capabilities. This is harder to weld because copper requires more energy than plain nickel strips. With a pulse set to maximum, it doesn't weld properly, likely due to reaching the car battery's limit. As a last resort, I'll install those tungsten tips that we sharpened earlier and see if that'll work. Well, it just melted into the nickel strip. After doing a bit of research, it turns out that a good spot welding tip is not about a high melting point, but it's about having a low internal resistance, which copper has over 3 times lower than tungsten. Reducing the pulse time helps a bit, but the weld still isn't strong enough. So the conclusion is that a used car battery doesn't have enough energy to reliably weld nickel-plated copper strips. But switching back to regular nickel strips with copper tips works perfectly fine. One of the most important things I found is that both welding tips need equal pressure and spacing to get consistent results on both sides of the weld. Did you know you can also spot weld using microwave transformers or supercapacitors? Check out the playlist to see exactly that.